My next guest brought this to our attention, and he says he knows exactly where it's starting. Please welcome into the show America's accountant, Dan Geltrude. Dan, I'm going to make the segue like this. Believe it or not, I was an art major, but then when that disappointed my father, I went into finance. But I started in accounting. But basically, finance majors are all failed accountants. Why don't we have any more people just going into school to be an accountant?
Well, that's where this whole issue starts, Scott. And let me just start off by saying this Wall Street Journal article by Lindsay Ellis kind of opened up everybody's eyes about this crisis with not enough accountants. But you're right. It starts with accounting majors, right? So you need a lot of accounting majors in order to supply the profession. We don't have that anymore. Accounting majors have dropped significantly. So we have to ask ourselves, why is that? Now, there's a few reasons, but there's one thing I want to point out that I bet most of the audience isn't aware of. When you get your four-year degree, Scott, you have 120 credits, 4 years, if you make it in 4 years. But anyway, it's still 120 credits. Now, for accountants, you actually need 150 credit hours in order to become a CPA in all 50 states. But here's the catch. Those additional 30 credits don't have to be in anything specific. They're empty credits. So what's happening with the cost of colleges these days is people looking at accounting saying, I can't afford that extra year. So it becomes a barrier to entry. We need to focus in on that to start with in order to get more people in the pipeline.
So that's 30 credit hours. You're right. That's another year, but it's not a year that you're spent learning more about accounting. It's
exactly.
It's all electives and fluffs. So it's underwater BB stacking and the stuff like that. So why are they even doing that? Why wouldn't they just drop that altogether? Well, I know why they're doing it. They want the money. I mean, that's going to be why they want to do it. But why is that even part of the deal? Why don't they do that for everybody else? Or why does just the accountant have to do that?
Well, that's why so many people are asking that question, Scott. And you know, what we've looked at in New Jersey, where I am, is to say, what happens if we could develop a program called Work for Credit, where you get your 120 credit hours in your accounting degree, and then those last 30 credits, instead of those being empty credits, why don't we make it work for credit? So you actually go work in the field of accounting and get those additional 30 credits. So now you have your 4-year degree and a year of experience under your belt to be a CPA. So in New Jersey, PwC, along with St. Peter's University, has put this pilot program together, and it seems like it could be a real solution.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I think Lori Lightfoot tried to do that in Chicago, but you only got credit if you worked to help her be reelected as mayor. But that's a whole other show we'll do on that. So you think that'll help then? We need to get more people in the pipeline. And look, 300,000 people over the last 2 years, that's massive. If I thought 87,000 was big, 300,000 is huge. How is this, how is your profession going to handle that much of a shortage? I know you said some folks are going overseas, but are there any other measures that they're taking?
Well, here's what's happening, Scott. So you have these accounting firms which have lost 300,000 people over the last 2 years. Why did that happen? Because of so much more regulation during the pandemic. Accountants had to do their regular work, plus all the other stuff that the pandemic brought on. So you had a lot of people overworked, leaving the profession. Pipeline is thin, not enough people. But here's where it becomes really troubling, to the point at the beginning of why this is a threat to the financial structure of the country and the world. Think about this, Scott. If you don't have enough people, auditors, to do the work on SEC filings, and you have some question of quality and the timeliness of the filings, what happens? All the people that are relying on those financial statements to make investment decisions, if they think they can't rely on that, the whole thing falls down. That's how important accountants are to this.
Speaking as an accountant yourself, right? So that's
of course,
of course, right?
Of course,
you can't live without.
But it's true.
Yes, it is, and it seems to me that all I've been hearing about is how everybody needs to be going into tech because tech's going to give you a great job coming out of a college. But this kind of is a great advertisement for maybe being an accountant, because there looks like there's going to be a lot of work for that in the next few years.
There really is, Scott. Listen, I would tell anybody who's in college right now, think about going into accounting. You're practically guaranteed a job. Maybe you want to be like America's accountant. How's that for incentive?
Maybe you get to wear shoes like you do, too. All right, that's awesome stuff. Really appreciate it. Thanks for